The Flagrant Podcast has been known to interview some political candidates that end up winning elections. We're going to jump into this video right here. We're going to see what this video is talking about, what Mamdani's talking about.
Socialism. I'm so upset. I'm so angry that you guys did the New York City Olympics. Because I hit that guy up. I was watching Subway Tapes, and I'm forgetting the guy's name right now, my bad. But he goes, we should have like a New York City Olympics where the boroughs compete. And I didn't DM Kareem, I DM'd the guy. And I go, let's make this happen. Like, I am down. And he goes, how would we do that? And I go, we'll find a way. And then I see you a few weeks later, like, we're doing it. Everybody come out. Were you Far Rockaway or something?
No, Coney Island.
It was Coney Island. Coney Island. Yeah. Anyway, guys, we're here with the next mayor of New York City. 93% on Kalshi right now.
Yes.
Chances of victory. 93%.
Yep.
So
93% odds is crazy. That is a landslide victory. I've never seen a not even Republican, but candidate coming out of any state with such a high rate of support. Now, that does indicate, what I do know about Mamdani is that his policies, his ideology is more socialist-centered, which I think a lot of people are kind of for. They're becoming more ideologically socialist, which is new for me because when I was growing up, socialism, I guess it wasn't as demonized as it was in past generations, but it still was demonized in a sense, right? I had a politics class in middle school, and I remember learning about socialism. I remember my teacher kind of going over the pros of socialism, but at the same time, that rhetoric of, where the issues in socialism are was a part of what we were taught. So it is pretty interesting to see Zohran Mamdani doing so well.
Well, barring this doesn't go horribly, I think you're good.
This is how we bring the numbers down.
We gotta get some parity here. We gotta get Cuomo.
People understand this election's not over, so I'm going to tank this interview. If it's not an 85 by the end of this interview,
We're gonna work on it. Dude, you've done I want to give you a few compliments here, but they're also very validating because.
Now, one thing I will say before he starts yapping, I'm going to yap for a little bit. I do think that Zohran, as a candidate, just his appearance, presence, he does seem like a respectable person in my eyes. He doesn't seem to be doing the same kind of gimmicks that I see from a lot of other political candidates. There's not so much negative controversy associated with his name, as far as I can tell. So that is something I do respect in candidates, because most of these political guys you can't really tell if they have a soul or not, if they're a real person behind closed doors. It's pretty weird. So based off of just appearance, I personally like Zohran.
I think, every week I'm talking to Charlemagne and we're talking with the boys here on the pods, and it's like, we keep on saying, hey, Democrats, can you please just run for something and not against somebody?
Yep.
It is a very simple solution, but I think people at their core want to feel like their issues are addressed, and their concerns are met. Not simply that guy bad.
Yeah.
And then you guys have done it masterfully. Obviously, you're a great talent, and your team is phenomenal. Zara, I know you're listening. You're great. Give us a little more time. You're great. But it was really validating to see that.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, if you talk about the issues people care about and say that you're going to do something about it, they will support you. What a fucking crazy idea.
It's also crazy. The things that I would say you inspire, change and hope. The last great Democrat, those were kind of his mantras, or however you'd say it. Change and hope, and that's what you inspire.
Was that Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's been lost a little bit.
And just based off what he's saying, during the Obama era, Obama's marketing strategy, using change and hope as his way of garnering an audience and leading the political direction for America during his term, I just remember that as being really powerful and inspiring, because I grew up on inspiring figures kind of just standing for the greater good of humanity, not necessarily just accomplishing so much and being so successful that that's all we saw. It was more about how you impacted the world. That was the superheroes back in the day. So, yeah, thinking about politically where things are now, I don't really see that same dynamic with where political ideology is. And then when you go back and then you look at how, you have all of these conspiracy theories and you got so many opinions about every political candidate where it's like, you don't really know what to trust. And I think that's a sad thing in America. We don't really trust our leaders. We don't trust our government. And, I think a part of that is us kind of having to find things out later on versus in the moment. I think now with social media and everything, we find things more in the moment, and then things like ideology spread so quickly these days. Ideas spread so quickly these days that we don't have like a centralized focus on, what's going on. We don't really understand what's going on in the world. So, yeah, it's wild to conceive where we are.
I appreciate you guys. I think it's just, there's been a lot of lecturing and not much listening. And, we saw a swing towards Trump here in New York City in the last general election.
Whose responsibility was that? Who the hell made that? What the fuck are we even talking about?
Dude, those guys. I can't believe they did this. What a frat boys, dude.
But it was there are a lot of caricatures of who Trump voters are. And in New York City, we saw the swing was actually in the heart of immigrant New York. And I went to Hillside Avenue in Queens. I went to Fordham Road in the Bronx. And I asked New Yorkers, who did you vote for and why? And I met the vast majority of them were Trump voters. And I asked them why, and it just came back to cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And if I had spent that time lecturing them as to why they were wrong, as opposed to listening to them as to how we could get right, then we would run a very different campaign.
And this is one thing I said I wanted to talk about. I feel like it's that.
No, just based off of what he's saying there, man, I can respect that because I think that's one of the key points of negotiation is really like understanding your who you're talking to, what their issues are. But Trump's strategy, Charlie Kirk's strategy, a lot of these guys' strategy is like the enforcement of their own ideas versus kind of coming to that point of understanding and finding a solution. So it's all about, them being right and the other person being wrong. And that's one thing that, I have a hard time agreeing with when it comes to Republican ideology. The belief that their ideas are right over others. You know what I mean? Like the right solution. Like how the government is shut down because Trump believes that what he is proposing is right and what the Democrats are opposing is wrong. That's not negotiation. That is negotiation, actually. But it's a style that is like, it's either you do it or you don't. That doesn't benefit both sides. It only benefits one side. So I don't like that.
Establishment Democrats don't understand a pretty simple thing. We want to vote for someone who might make things better. Even if the risk is it will make things worse. A lot of people voted for Trump because he might make things better, and the other person is saying, I wouldn't change anything. Things are not good. In New York, things are not good right now. The other guy, to me, is just saying it's the same, and you're saying it could get better.
It's a privilege to maintain the status quo. You know what I mean? Like, if it, like, we're privileged, like, it's very nice to know that we're going to be okay. Listen.
We can't afford more the same.
So here's the thing. Like, it's so funny because I saw it was like Tucker Carlson and Charlie Kirk. And they were talking about you. I don't know if you remember this.
I didn't see this.
But they were speaking, and it was almost like the shoehorn theory. Have you ever seen that, like, politically?
Horseshoe.
Oh, sorry. Horseshoe, yeah. So it's like, and I think that they were basically saying that you were meeting the moment in terms of what people are concerned with, right? It's obviously cost of living, and it's like, I think it's so specific. I think it's like, it's rent, and I think everything is derivative of rent.
Yeah.
And
it's the number one issue in the city.
The number is. bro?
I say rent is probably not the number one issue everywhere, but rent is absolutely egregious these days, man. Rent, when you compare rent to the average income, and then you compare that historically, rent is egregious, bro. These mega corporations that own all these properties want to increase rent. They want to increase rent, bro. You know what I mean? Buying a house. I have some younger family members that have purchased houses, so I'm not going to say it's impossible. I'm not going to say that you can't do it. It's difficult for a lot of people, for sure, with the price of things. But I don't know. I also do lean a little bit more on the side of, it just all depends on how you use your money. But at the same time, man, rent is insane, man. It's a lot of things that are getting more expensive. Like, everything is more expensive objectively, so there's no debating that. It's just, a lot of these socialist ideas, I think people are more aligned with that in this current age, mainly because it's different than the other times in history where things are just a lot more unknown. Like, we don't even know what's going to happen with the jobs in the coming years because of AI. So I think the idea is there, and Mamdani's definitely planting the seed, but on a federal, like on a national level, I don't know if that would actually happen within the next decade or so.
I started looking up numbers because, like, I think a 2-bedroom 6 years ago was the average 2-bedroom compared to right now. I think has gone up 90%.
I mean, it's untenable, right? Like, and I think this is the thing that 90%, almost doubled in 6 years.
That's great.
How are people supposed to keep up with this? And I think what's so come to what you guys were saying, if the politics on offer is right now is as good as it's ever going to get, that's not good enough for the vast majority of people.
And I think it speaks to how out of touch a lot of them are.
Yeah, and I think it's just, I spoke to a nurse who, after she finishes her shift, she drives for an hour and a half, leaving the state of New York to get to where she can afford a place.
Wow.
That's what you're putting working people through. People are living in Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Jersey City, commuting it.
Dude, white people have to live in the outer boroughs.
All right, I'm going to cut the interview right here. If you enjoyed this reaction, like for part 2, and I'll drop a part 2. I didn't want to go through the whole thing just for time reasons, and I'm starting to get a little bored. Not even going to lie. It's late over here. I'm tired, so yeah. Catch you on the next one.